Hello and welcome to episode 1474 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Thursday, February 12th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer. Joined this afternoon by both Joe Orrico and Justin Mason. What up, gents?
What's going on, fellas? Good to be back.
Justin, how are you?
I'm here. I'm ready. I have not been cut like Nick Castellanos. So
Can I be a little bit of a dick right now?
Mm-hmm.
This is the shittiest time of year, dude, and for one reason. All these injuries, and it happens every year. And I get duped. You know, I get excited about the season coming, and I always forget. I don't know why. Something over the winter makes me forget that the first couple weeks sucks because we get all the news of the guys that didn't say anything in the offseason, or maybe their teams didn't. Maybe they told the team back in January, hey, I had this little surgery. We'll tell the media in February, whatever. But it's just endless news. Right now, every time Jason Collette texts me, I don't want to look at it. I'm scared. It's going to be bad news from him.
It feels weird, too, though, because usually it's pitching injuries, right? Guys start to throw, and they've got soreness in the elbow and stuff like that.
Those make sense.
Right? We have like an epidemic of hamate injuries.
Remember, and that's been a while since we had that. Yeah. Remember when it was like the biggest thing ever? This is a long time ago now. And it was just, everyone was getting them. It seemed like left and right, and they were just plaguing the league. Then they kind of went by the wayside. Not that they never happened, but they weren't as scary. And I think part of that is, and we were learning that, again, if you forgot it, which I did a little bit, we are learning that they don't have as big of an impact as we thought. At least that's what the data says. The studied data says that guys are not going to lose their power to the degree that we are concerned about over time. Now, that's the tricky part is the overtime. Like, when are they going to get back?
I saw a really great video on this by AJ Przinsky.
Who
isn't a guy I necessarily love to watch necessarily, but he talked about breaking his.
He does know the game though, too.
Yeah, and so what it comes from, according to him, is the way players hold their bat. Right, it's right up against the hamate bone, so it's just a matter of time before like the vibrations from the swing, right?
Especially as hard as they swing, right? And apparently it's not a particularly strong bone. It breaks a bunch. We got three big ones.
It's easy to fix, but then what he said is like when you come back from it, because you have to pretty much keep it immobilized for 3 to 4 weeks after the surgery, you just lose power in your wrists. And that, so it takes time to bring it back.
And that's why I said over time with getting back to their level, because I mentioned, and we're going to talk outfield here and we'll get deeper into Carroll, but I mentioned him in my chat that I was scared now. And somebody sent me the study saying, hey, why are you scared? It doesn't really affect guys. I said, yes, but in the long term, sure. But I don't want to draft him now in the first round or even the second round or maybe even the third round because you got 4 to 8 weeks, which is a pretty big window, 1 to 2 months, just to get everything done. And then, like you said, the time when they get back until they're comfortable to actually give their full power. So I don't know when we're getting back to 100% with somebody like Carroll or Holiday or Francisco Lindor. That's 2 first rounders and a relatively early rounder at a dog shit position with Holiday at second base. So that is really stinging the pool. I think it's a pretty big deal. Again, we'll get deeper into the hamate stuff with Carroll. Only bit of news I want to cover today, as far as news and notes, is the Castellanos cut. He is officially cut from Philly. This isn't a gigantic shock. If you've been paying attention to the tea leaves, I think he kind of knew, maybe even after the season, right? Wasn't he pretty much lamenting at the end of the year that he thought things could be like this? So this is a bit of a formality. And before I can even begin to think of where he might go, Justin, you spit out a great idea that I couldn't agree more with. Where do you think Castellanos might land?
Houston, right? We've been talking. They need to trade, trade Paredes for an outfielder.
Get an outfielder.
It makes a ton of sense for them.
And I know he's an outfielder, but who cares? They'll take anything, and he's free now. He is literally league min based on this cut here for Nick Castellanos.
I mean,
what do you think about that?
They've been playing Yordan Alvarez in the outfield.
Right. If they're going to let him do it, let Castellanos take a shot. Joe, like I said, I loved that when Justin suggested it. How does that hit your ear when you hear Castellanos as a possible fit for the Astros to pick him up on the cheap?
Is it crazy for me to say that he may not 100% get a job? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, he's going to get a job somewhere.
I think he gets at least a shot in spring. Now, if he's washed, Joe, I could see you being like, what you're saying, like, man, maybe he's done. Maybe the bat speed's done. He gets knocked around, and maybe he's, not going to go to the minors. I don't think he's going to get at least one shot. I think I'd be really surprised if nobody took any shot to see what's what. We have one bad year. The 2 years before that, we're still, just above league average. He was a plus bat, Castellanos.
Yeah, just like the overall picture of Castellanos, like negative WAR seasons last year, 0.2 in 2024, 1.3. Like the last like great year for him overall was 2021. His time in Philly, he accumulated like 1 win above replacement in 4 years. And when I look at who else is on the market still, we got Tommy Pham, Marte, Grichuk, Andrew McCutchen. I'm just not 100% sure that a team is going to jump at Castellanos.
Better than all those guys.
That's the thing, though.
Is he better than them?
I think so. Say them again. Yeah, I think he's at least as good as those guys. And he is literally free. They're all going to be a couple mil, which isn't a ton, right? But he is literally free when we're talking league minimum for a guy with 12 years of experience.
He doesn't need to be a starter necessarily. Like, he could go into a situation where he's on the short side of a platoon.
Can we think of anywhere?
He's degraded so much as a hitter. Like, he chases so much. The contact is 84% zone contact, but 16% swinging strike. The barrel rates are 7%. The hard hit rate was below 35. I think he gets a job probably, but is he going to be a starter anywhere? I would have a hard time if I was running a team putting Castellanos in the lineup for 600 plate appearances or even 500.
Put him in Colorado.
I mean,
yeah,
why not? But they've done some decent things, picking up some guys that are name value. Honestly, he would be a fit. They got all these lefties here.
Yeah.
Honestly, that one works too. I really don't. Now, he would be an absolute nightmare in their outfield, but they open up a better DH spot for Castellanos than Houston does. That's the one thing about your Houston suggestion, Justin, is that he can't DH because it's Alvarez's spot. So they would have to commit to outfield.
Like Alvarez,
and that's a fair point too.
A stiff breeze, hurts Alvarez.
He does have 48-year-old knees, and frankly, I cannot be convinced otherwise. I'm sorry, folks. He just does. But we'll keep tabs on that. That is really interesting. I understand what you're saying, Joe, that like he is degraded, but he does still have enough name value and a big, which for that is track record, that he's going to get a real shot to do something.
You're probably right.
I think there's going to be somebody who will say, we'll let you play all the way. And then if it degrades into a short side platoon because he's more 2025 version than he is 23 and 24, then we'll go from there with Casty. But I will say I would take him in a DC right now because I think his price will be nothing.
Oh, I'm sure he's pretty much.
He can be plummeting, right? Is he going to go in like the 500s until he gets signed at least?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, probably. So, honestly, looking at it, considering the Blue Jays with the Santander injury.
Oh yeah.
Our outfield is all left-handed: Lucas, Barger, and Varsho. So I don't really want to see it, but I could see Castellanos being a bench bat in Toronto.
Not the worst idea. He's picked 395 right now. I might be underselling it at 500. He might go to 550. Until he gets a job somewhere. So we'll keep tabs on that. Castellanos, free agent now, can be league minimum for anybody who wants to sign him. Philly's footing the bill this year, basically. All right, let's get into our outfield preview part one. As always, we are following our rankers tiers. This is Jeff Zimmerman's outfield ranks. He breaks them up really nicely. 5 category studs, 4 category studs, and then 5 category pillars. So maybe just a cut below. Those are the 3 tiers we're going to try to get to today. I'll just be honest with you. I don't know that we got enough time for tier 3 since we'll probably be focused pretty heavily on 1 and 2. This first guy, though, I don't know that we have to say a whole lot about Aaron Judge. I guess the way to make any sort of like compelling question about how, what you're doing with Aaron Judge, Joe, is you take him number 1, or is it Ohtani for you or somebody else with Judge?
See, I can see the argument for Judge number 1 over Ohtani if it's just Ohtani batter. If you're talking like Yahoo settings, I could see the argument for Judge. Ohtani going back to more of a full-time pitching role will probably hurt him a little bit offensively. And Judge, even with the last couple of years, has still been a better offensive player than Ohtani has. And you see like every list of like best hitters in baseball, like usually you will see Ohtani ahead of Judge, but Judge out-earned him last year by $5 whole on the auction calculator in 50 fewer plate appearances. The age is the only thing that I could see. Well, maybe some people will worry now he's going to be 34. Sure. Does he lose a little bit of a step? But he's been on this run the last 4 years. That's one of the best we've ever seen from anybody. And
it's so hard to bet against him.
I think he's still really safe. He steals some bases now. He's giving you double-digit steals in each of the last 3 full seasons. I could see the argument over Ohtani. If I just had one draft, I think I would probably still lean with Shohei. Just you got the Dodgers lineup security. Outside of Judge, the Yankees lineup I don't think is amazing. I think he does a lot of the lifting.
Justin hit on that a while ago.
I could see the argument going both ways. If it's Ohtani, hitter and pitcher, like you have on the NFBC, I think the flexibility will still lead me towards Ohtani.
I think that's where I'm at too, but I'm never going to chastise anybody for taking Judge number one. Justin, I'll ask you the same question, but also ask you, with your rightful concerns about health with guys and your aversion to that, does that ding Judge heavily for you, or has he just been good enough that even if you sliced 15 games off just out of a precaution, that you would still have no problem with him? Where are you at on Judge?
I mean, I have a little concern about the elbow. He did have a procedure in the offseason. But, I mean, he was okayed for the WBC, which I know everybody's always like, oh, what if they get hurt in the WBC? Like, they can get hurt in spring training, too. So, like,
exactly. It's the same they're playing, right?
You're playing baseball, right? So, the fact that he's had 679 plate appearances last year, 704 plate appearances the year before, I'm not super worried about Judge's health. I mean, he is 34. He does, like I said, coming off the elbow thing, but maybe that takes him down a hair. That still makes him the second best player in the game. Like,
exactly.
Like, I don't really have an issue with Aaron Judge going 2 or maybe 3 if you want to put like Bobby Witt Jr. But I think the depth at shortstop versus the depth at outfield, I would still probably take Judge over Witt.
What about J-Ram?
That's exactly how I feel. J-Ram is in the mix for me.
I think J-Ram's in the mix as well. Like, I think
especially at 3. Especially
I think there is a 1. There's a 1 in Ohtani. Mm-hmm. And then I think the arguments for 2 through 5 or 2 through 6, depending on how many pitchers you want to put into that argument, is you're picking nits. And so
I fully agree. Yep. You start looking at soft factors at that point.
Yeah. Like, I have no problem. If someone wants to take J-Ram 2, I got no problem with that. I don't know that I'm going to, but also, like, this is the beauty of KDS. Like, I'm setting my KDS 1 and then, like, 5, 6. Like, I'm not even trying to pick second or third because I know whatever player gets me at 5 or 6, I'm going to be happy
I can get J-Ram at 5, 6. That's the thing, too. I love J-Ram, and I would consider him 3, but I can get him at 5, 6, so I probably am like you, Justin, moving down a little bit there in hopes that he lands there. And if he doesn't, what I'm quote-unquote stuck with is fine. Let's go to the next outfielder here for Jeff. It is Juan Soto. And I have to ask the basic question, Justin, just because it is the biggest one. They got rid of the first base coach that helped fuel this amazing run of steals across the team, but specifically Soto, who led the NL going 38 for 42. What a just brilliant, brilliant turn of events there. He had never had more than 12 before that. What happens now, and why the fuck did they not re-sign that? How much is a first base coach costing? Anytime I try to be like, guys, don't do the Mets gonna Mets, it's getting a little tired. They step right in it, and I have to let everyone just do the Mets gonna Mets because that is the most Mets gonna Mets possible. What are they gonna do with what's the speed gonna look like this year for Soto and company?
Okay, so and maybe this is a dumb question, and if it is, feel free to yell at me. How much does the first base coach control the running game? Really?
I feel that. But
like everybody being like, "Oh, the stolen base numbers for the Mets are going to go down, and they're going to go up in Atlanta for Acuna because that's where the first base coach." The first base coach does not have control over that kind of stuff. Now he can improve for sure, but like, do we think that Soto forgot how to steal a base in the offseason?
No.
Like, I don't. Now, am I projecting Soto to have 7 steals this year? No. Like,
where are you putting him then?
Probably 20 something, like low 20s.
Man, I just don't know that I can get confident in that. This is like a Brady Anderson type of steal season. Obviously not the same thing because he didn't maybe get there in a nefarious way as we suspect with Brady, but it is that sort of outlier. And I hear you on well, did they just forget? But you know what else we say that about? And I can remember in a clear case that we made so many riffs on that he would just go from his team, drive down the highway to go visit their old pitching coach. Remember when Tyler Anderson left the Dodgers and we're like, he's not going to forget what they taught him. He could just drive over there and get his tips again from Mark Pryor. And he did forget. He was horrendous the following year. Now, pitching is a lot different than base stealing. I don't want to say it's a 1-to-1, but we see guys leave coaches or coaches leave and things change. Now, the reason that it's still an unknown, and I can't give you a definitive answer on that, Justin, is we don't know what he did to make them better. Was he getting reads on every damn pitcher? all season long. And so it's that in the moment read that he's telling them, look for this right now, boom, go. And that you're not going to have that there? Or did he give them foundational things that they can build off of that they can take while he's gone? And that's the part that we don't know yet with Richardson and the Mets.
Maybe we change our perception once spring training games do start and we see are the Mets running, right? If the Mets are still running, then I'm not super worried about it. But like this idea that like this one coach who has very little power in terms of organizational philosophy is going to change the dynamic of the Mets and the Braves now because he's gone to Atlanta.
Well, why'd they stop? Wait. Well, why'd they start running so much with him last year then if you don't think he had any impact?
I mean, I think it's just the organization is the one who determines this stuff. Like, he's a part of the organization, but I don't think he's got that much sway. And like I said, maybe I'm wrong.
I think part of it is we just don't know. Like, and we are dealing with a lot of incomplete info.
I think people are just looking at the one difference and they're going, "Oh, it's got to be this," and like
it's a pretty big difference. He was 6 for 6 as a major leaguer, by the way. Anton Richardson is the player in question here. Antoine, excuse me. I'm obviously joking there, saying like 6 for 6, and that doesn't make him a god or anything. But again, I don't know. I can't push back too hard on you, Justin, because I don't know. But I'm really interested to see it. And like I said, because of the unknown, I can't get to 20 on Soto. Now, it doesn't push him down the board for me much because he's still Juan Soto, and I had him up this high last year before I knew he was going to steal a million bases. So from a fantasy perspective, it doesn't really change things, but I truly have no idea how to approach this. Joe, what are you doing with Soto and any of the other Mets who, ran wild last year, and now that Antoine Richardson's not only gone, but also on a division rival, another Mets, by the way. What do you think is going to happen there, Joe?
Yeah, just looking at the Mets' stolen base totals last year, like they jumped up about 40 steals from the year prior, but it was pretty much all Soto, unless I'm missing something. Like Brandon
Lindor
Nimmo
had 30.
But doesn't Lindor pretty much always have about 30 stolen bases? Like, was that like he went from had 31, 29, 31.
But they were so successful. Acuna, 16 for 17. Nimmo, 13 for 14. Tyrone Taylor, 12 for 14. Beatty and Mullins, 8 for 8 each. Like, I think that's the thing, too. They didn't get caught. They had 18 caughts all year. That efficiency was massive. Again, I don't know how much to give to Richardson, but I'm not giving him 0. I'm giving him some credit on that. When you look at teams that stole at least 100 bases last year, their 18 caughts are so far the lowest that the next lowest total, again, amongst teams with at least 100 steals, was 30 caughts from Cincy. So they almost had half as many caughts. And by the way, they had 42 more steals than Cincy. They were 147 stolen, 18 caught. The next highest caught with 100 steals was 105 and 30, which was Cincy. So again, things were going very, very well there. I just don't know what to do with it, and I'm probably going to lean negative on it and take a lot of those steals away from those guys.
With Soto, I haven't actually landed on him. It's more of a KDS thing. It's not like I have anything against him. But if I do end up with Soto, whatever projection software you use, or if you just write it down by hand, I'd probably go under these numbers. A lot of them are in the mid-20s. Write down 15 steals for Juan Soto, and then if he exceeds that, then anything you get beyond that is gravy. But I think if you're banking on a 30 steal season from Soto, and that alters how you draft steals throughout the rest of the draft, I think that's going to hurt you.
That's the point, Joe. And I've been mentioning this a bunch with different projections across different guys throughout these previews, is if you are somebody who tracks your numbers during the draft, go low on some of these real big unknowns like Soto steals. Put down 14 or 12 in your sheet so that you still have to keep drafting those extras. And if he happens to steal a million again, then you're all the better for it.
So the question I have then for you guys as we transition into the next guy
is Mr. J-Rod.
With the or actually I guess not the next guy. Next guy on the ADP, but not next guy on the list. Do you have him still well above Ronald Acuna Jr., who would be the next guy in the ADP?
Joe, I'm going to let you field that first because, like we just said, the aforementioned Antoine Richardson went over to Atlanta, and we already know that Acuna can steal like crazy. I don't know if he's going to help much. How do you feel about that gap there between Soto and Acuna? Should it be negligible as opposed to 3-4 picks?
I still am not fully certain of where I land on Acuna. I get nervous with my first round pick. I don't necessarily need to hit a big home run like Acuna could be. I want to more so play it safe. And Acuna with both knees gone at this point. I mean, refigured his knees at this point. I don't know what he's going to be. I have really no idea. Like his numbers in the Winter League, he's been stealing a lot more in the Winter League. I haven't looked at those numbers as of late, but he had quite a few stolen bases. The thing is, I don't know how to measure that against major league catchers, major league schematics.
I don't think it matters. I think the fact that he's doing it and the fact that Ronald Acuna went down there and went 11 for 11, I think the volume alone, 11 steals in 16 games, is all you really need to know. Whether the competition was difficult, I think just the willingness to do it shows a confidence in his legs, which is what everyone's wondering about with Acuna, that you can project him, I think, for a pretty big number again. And then such...
I think there's one number you necessarily can't project really
games
big.
Played.
It's games played, and that determines like how big that number in stolen bases can be.
But obviously, if people are drafting him up here in the first round, they're
people
hoping.
Are shooting for upside, right?
Right.
It's actually kind of perfect that Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ellie De La Cruz are like right next to each other in the ADP, right? Because they're pretty much saying like the 7 guys ahead of them. Of course, we can now cross Carroll off of that list, are really safe and really good. And then it's like, okay, after you get past that, shoot for upside, baby. Like, and I took Acuna in a mock draft thing I had to do for an article for Fantasy Pros, and I didn't feel good about it, but I did it because the upside is so great.
It's massive. It's just massive.
And it was a 10-team league, right? So like, it wasn't like I was like, there's a lot of replacement value. And I said, like, I don't know that I would do this in a 15. But in a 10, oh, my God, like, he could be the number 1 player in fantasy.
I'm looking at the ADP here, and I'm doing January 21st through today, February 12th. That gives me 21 drafts, just so people can follow along, just trying to get a more recent slice. And his range for Acuna is 4 to 11. That's kind of interesting to me, too, I thought it would be tighter. I thought it'd be like a min of 4 and like a max of 6 or 7. But he can fall a little bit. I think if I see double digits, if I'm sitting there at pick 10, 11, and Acuna's there, I don't know how I don't slam that.
That's where I'm
slam that every time.
I'm fine with it there. If you're pushing him up to 3, 4, I mean, if we see him at a couple of massive bombs in spring training, it's going to be a big 3. It's going to be Ohtani, Judge, and Acuna. He makes me so nervous in the first round. I feel like he should be a second round player. I know what the upside is. I know what he's capable of, but considering all the risk,
there's no discount for the risk. Is what we're concerned with.
Like, is he a better pick than Julio?
Let's go to Julio because he is next, and actually Julio is ahead of Ronald Acuna on Jeff's ranking. So let's go to him. He will be next in the ADP when Carroll leaves. Carroll was sitting there as the 4th outfielder, 8th pick overall. We know that's going to go down. We'll talk about him in a moment. J-Rod is the 10th pick, 5th outfielder. He'll go to the 4th outfielder. We don't know if he'll move up in actual pick. So bring him in then. J-Rod versus Acuna, Joe, just straight up. Who are you picking at pick 8? And both are available. Who would you pick?
I think I would go with Julio. Julio plays, he's gotten at least 600. I mean, he's been over 700 plate appearances 2 of the last 3 years. His first year it was 132 games. Like, he is a guy who plays every day. Now, if you're a head-to-head player, you have to worry about Julio's first half struggles a little bit, maybe. I don't know how sticky.
Wouldn't you rather that than somebody who gasses out, though? Because at least if you can maintain
the playoffs,
maintain during the early part of the year, then you get J-Rod at the most important part of the year, ideally when you're making the playoffs and then making a run. But yeah, it has been consistent, and that was going to be my question framed to Justin there, so I'll bring you in on that, Joe. With these first, second half consistency, you mentioned you don't know how sticky it is, but so far in his career, it's been 737 OPS in the first half, 902 in the second, and it is a clear April, May, June are all shit. 654, 772, 704. 772 was like, you can live with that. But like, those are not good months compared to July, August, September, which is 876, 926, 915. That's for his career for J-Rod. I give it a little credence, but it doesn't change anything for me, even in the aforementioned head-to-head, because at least he's, like I said, he's good during the time I need him the very most.
Yeah, I think, you can write down the 30-30 in pen pretty much before the season, or 28-28, something along those lines with Julio. He's going to give you a good batting average. The lineup is really good, despite the shitty ballpark. It's a really good, safe lineup to hit in. And with Acuna, you can say, well, maybe he can go 40-40. But it goes back to like the first point that I made of I don't want to draft for upside in the first round. I get that people want to. They want to hit the home run in every round. I'll hit the home runs in round 12 and 15 and 23 and 29 if I need to. If I take Acuna and he plays 42 games this year, your season's not necessarily over if you take him in the first round, but it makes it so much harder.
Yeah.
With Julio, even if Julio doesn't have the same potential ceiling, maybe he does. Could Julio go 40-40 this year? He's only 25. He could. He just feels so much safer. And that goes, honestly, the same thing can be said for Tucker outside of position. I can say the same thing for like the Gunners and the Vladdies of the world. There's just so many safe first-round picks, early second-rounders that the risk of Acuna just feels a little bit too much inside the top 10 picks.
Yeah, and I think J-Rod can go. I think his upside is every bit as good as Acuna's. I know he hasn't shown 40-70 the way Acuna did, but I don't think you could convince me that J-Rod doesn't have the same upside. He's also 3 years younger. Justin, same question to you. We've seen the inconsistent first halves. Does that move you off of him at all with J-Rod? And then J-Rod versus Acuna straight up, where do you go? Both those questions there.
The early first round or first half struggles don't really bother me that much.
Okay, I figured.
You look at the end of the season line, you're fine. You're playing a head-to-head league. He's like you said, he's going to get better as the season goes on, which is what you want for a playoff situation. When it comes to Acuna versus J-Rod, I think it really depends on depth of league. I think you know all three of us play in a lot of 15-team leagues, and so I think we're wired to go. I want that safety. I think the shallower the league gets, the more I start moving towards Acuna, right? Now, if I'm playing in a head-to-head league, though, again, I'm probably leaning towards J-Rod because I just think there's consistent production all the way through, and I kind of love that for a head-to-head league. So I think it really depends on your format, but if I'm playing in a 10 or a 12, I'm going to have a really hard time passing on Acuna just because, like I said, I do think there is not just an outcome chance, like a reasonable outcome that Acuna is healthy and just the guy that he has been, which could make him the number one player in fantasy.
Yep, he does have that upside. I would say J-Rod does too, but we've seen it from Acuna, so I think if you were turning injuries off and you really thought that he's going to stay healthy, you lean Acuna there. Let's go to Tucker. Third team in 3 years now. Houston in 24, 1 year stop off with the Cubs, and now out to the Dodgers. We expressed some concern about him last year because of Wrigley. We felt really stupid in April because he was unbelievable there, and it looked like he was hitting bombs in Wrigley too. He was like really twisting the knife on us. And then when we looked up on October 1st, turns out maybe we were kind of right because he did have a rough home record, specifically 747 OPS versus 923 on the road for Tucker. Now he goes to Dodger Stadium, Joe, part of that amazing lineup, getting $80 gazillion a year. I mean, you got to feel like he's back toward Houston level. No, we don't have that same concern that we had with him going to Wrigley. I certainly don't. I won't impress that upon you, but how do you feel about Tucker now as a Dodger?
No, I don't really have any performance concerns or any real ballpark concerns or anything like that. If there's anything, it's can he stay healthy? What the hell has happened these last 2 years? And can the teams properly fucking diagnose whatever's wrong with him?
Hopefully he's on a team now. I mean, they're not open about things that well, but I trust them more than I trust Houston lately with the way they've been dealing with injuries. I'll say that.
Yeah, Houston's a disaster. Like they've bungled Pena's injury last year. I think there was something with Jordan that they might have missed.
Alvarez multiple times, then Tucker.
It's just so much. But if you look at left-handed home or park factor for Dodger Stadium, overall 99. It's ranked 17th.
Okay,
but for lefty homers, I mean, looking over the last 3 years, it's 119. It's the fourth best lefty.
Oh, I thought you were saying 99 was. You were saying 99 was their overall factor.
99
and
overall,
119 for power. Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's got to be top
99.
5. You said.
119 for left-handed home run factor is fourth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's great in Dodger Stadium for Tucker then.
My only concern really is the health, because I've heard a lot of people say, well, the Dodgers, and it's a valid point, the Dodgers don't care about the regular season. They don't really need to. They're going to waltz their way to 95.
They are the load management team of Major League Baseball.
If they are going to load manage, though, I don't see Tucker being a prime candidate. He's one of only 3 guys in the lineup who is under the age of 30. And
he's a youngster on this team, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Pages, Hai-Sung Kim is scheduled in there right now because of the Edman injury. But, if in a regular lineup, he's one of only 2 guys under 30. I think if they're going to give days off, I could definitely see it for Freeman, as he's now 36, going to be 37.
For
Ohtani will probably need some more management, especially if he is going to be pitching on a full-time basis. And Will Smith will know that they're going to do it with Will Smith, with Mookie, who's 33, with Muncy, who's 35, Teoscar's 33. these are the guys that I think are going to get more of the regular rest, and maybe one day a week. One day a week, there's no Freeman. One day a week, there's no Mookie. I can see Tucker, if he's healthy, playing 162 games because of his age, because of the fact that he's missed some time over the last couple of years, and maybe now, this is more of a soft factor, but maybe in his head, he wants to play those 150 some odd games. He doesn't want to sit if he's healthy because he has already sat so much over the last couple of years. That's not an analytical thing. That's just something that I'm kind of foreseeing happening here with Kyle Tucker. He does not want to sit.
That tracks, though, because like you said, they can't sit everybody. They can't load manage everybody. They got guys way older.
Hold on. I got to jump in here. They don't load manage their offense. They load manage their pitching.
But as the guys continue to get older now, into their mid to late 30s.
They get hurt. There's a difference between getting hurt and load management, right? Like, this is an older team that does get hurt. They don't load manage their guys. Like, you look at, like, what they've done over the last... They probably should, or especially with some of their older guys, but, like, Muncy missing time, Freddie Freeman missing time, Betts missing time at the beginning of the season last year. Like, that was because of injury or illness. Mm-hmm. They don't really baby their position players. They baby their pitchers for sure. That's fair. I'm not worried about a load management issue with Tucker. I'm worried about can he stay healthy and whether Paul is going to drop whatever he just dropped.
Chapstick cow.
Yeah. So
my concern isn't like that Tucker is going to sit. I think it's kind of the opposite. Like, I think if anybody is going to sit, it wouldn't be Tucker. That's kind of where I'm trying
that is. I think that's definitely fair. But Justin's point about the fact that they haven't done it, so maybe they won't, means maybe you could alleviate some of the concern for some of the older guys. Because they haven't shown that.
The concern's just got to be: are the older guys going to stay healthy the whole way? Because Freddie Freeman's dealing with that ankle issue still, right? Max Muncy's coming off of a season in which he was injured, but like they also
get an extension, by the way.
Muncy. Yeah, he just got an extension as well. So like I'm not super worried about guys in that lineup.
No, me neither. I feel pretty good about it, and I feel good about Tucker. He's back in the first round for me after expressing some concerns last year. Guys, I still love Fernando Tatis Jr. I still, believe it or not, maybe I'm definitely wrong on this one. I said definitely, but maybe I'm wrong on this one. I still don't know if we've seen his best year. I know that 40-25 from 2021 or 42-25 probably is, but for some reason I think he can go 45-35. I don't know. He's 27 this year. He's been more just like really solid good these last 3 years versus being over the top amazing Tatis. But Justin, we look up at him now, like you said, 27 years old, still very much on the right side of 30, on a good team, has been churning out quality seasons. Do you just take him as a set it and forget it, or do you see some potential upside, or do you maybe see downside because of his previous health issues? And he stayed healthy last year, but that was his first year literally ever to go $150.
Yeah, I have some concerns with Tatis. I don't know that Tatis really should be a first rounder. I guess he's not technically. Oh no, he's
right round. There in my sample here. These 21 drafts, it's 15. He's right in that last pick.
And now with Lindor and Corbin Carroll dropping, like he probably will be just a firm first rounder. I think part of the problem is one, like yes, last year was the first season in which he played 150 games or more. And then you add the fact like the launch angle is been slowly declining every year, which seems like, hey, I'm not trying to hit bombs. I'm trying to spray the ball, and he's not going to be this 30, 40 homer guy that we really thought he was kind of turning into. He's going to kind of stay in this 25 range, which is fine. 25 homers, 30 stolen bases with a good average is fine. But I don't know if there's the massive upside, and I do worry too about this lineup around him. Is he going to be able to repeat that 111 runs? I don't think so. I think he's more of
not without another 150 games with that
95
team. You're right.
runs, 80 RBIs type thing. Is that a first rounder? It's not a bad pick, but it's not.
Say your numbers again.
25 homers, 30 stolen bases, 95 runs, 80 RBIs.
Yeah, I'm still taking that in the first with a 265
I don't
average.
mind it. Yeah, I don't mind it. But then you throw in, hey, he does have an injury track record, so he's not as safe as maybe some of the guys. I get it because I think there is a massive gap between right around pick 20-ish, 19 of hey, these guys could be first rounders, and the rest no, you're not first rounders. But I don't feel great about taking Tatis. If I'm at that spot at pick 14 and I'm probably gonna go like a Caminero. Like I'm definitely gonna go with Tucker. Like
I would take Tucker, but I would take both. I would actually do a double dip outfield.
Like a Vlad Guerrero Jr. That
would be nice. That'd be a good combo. If you're on the wheel.
I feel like he doesn't have the upside of some guys, and then he doesn't have the safe floor of other guys. And so it's like, why am I? Like, I think people are just taking Tatis because they think you should take Tatis and not really.
Wait, so the floor is only the injury piece, though, right?
Yeah, but that is a piece, right?
Sure, but I mean, even in 102 games in 2024, he went 21-11 and 276. Sure. So I mean, I think the talent's there. That's the part where we diverge. I think that talent floor is definitely there. I like the upside, but your point about the launching will come down to power.
Would you take Tatis over Tucker?
I wouldn't.
I don't think I would either. Yeah. Would you take Tatis over Vlad Guerrero Jr.
together? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I took Vlad in the first round last year, and I've struggled with speed. Give me the 25 steals.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now that's a personal thing, and I could obviously take Vlad and then just draft steals differently.
I think in a vacuum, Vlad is the better player.
He's the better hitter. I don't think he's the better fantasy player. I don't think he's inherently the better fantasy player. By the way, can I give you this one too? That actually this works against Tatis, but I do want to point it out and be fair. 13% walk rate last year, up from 8 and 7 the 2 years before. If that doesn't hold, that's another reason that he won't get 111 runs in that lineup. So that's something to keep an eye on in spring. Spring strikeout and walk rates are indicative, both with hitters and pitchers. So if he has a double-digit walk rate in spring, I'm going to feel a lot better about that. But if it's back down in that 7, 8, 9 range, that's also going to ding the runs for me.
It did kind of go up as the season went on. Like he had like a sub 10% walk rate before the beginning of June, and then June 15% walk rate, July 18% walk rate.
I have a scary theory about that.
16% walk rate. What's your scary theory?
It goes back to this lineup being shit. And
it's
like he's
terrible.
Not going to beat us. Yeah. Now, that doesn't change this year, I guess, because like we just said, this is still not a good lineup. Exactly. So maybe feel a bit more confident in the 30 steals, but not as confident in ribbies or even runs, because while will be getting on base, we're not sure that the guys later behind him, like the rest of the immediate guys behind him, Merrill, Machado, and even Laureano, Sheets, they can drive him in. But like Cronenworth, Andujar, Fermin,
that's a massive drop off.
That's such a cold, and even Sheets is part of that. I like Sheets. He's a nice, solid platoon guy.
Machado, Merrill to Sheets.
Yes, that's the point. As your number 4 hitter,
massive drop off right there.
As your number 4 guy. Yeah. No, I
like Sheets a lot, but he should be a 6 hitter. He should be a 6
Yes, he'd be such a classic 6. He shouldn't be the number 4 on a team that fancies themselves.
2 or 3 years ago, he would be the 8th or 9th hitter in this lineup.
Easily,
right?
Easily. And it changed on a dime. Like the way they kept spending all the money, they had to go stars and scrubs. All right, let's move on to the last guy in this tier who will no longer be in there. Next time Jeff does an update, I guarantee he'll move Corbin Carroll out. I don't know to where. Probably not too far. I would imagine he moves him down to the 5 category pillars tier. So that would be from the 5 category studs, 4 category studs to the 5 pillar. So that's the 3rd tier. That's where I think he'll move him. Hamate, we talked about at the outset of the show. It doesn't totally kill his season. It's all about timing, though. And in the NFBC, there's no IL, so you're just holding Carroll. Let's make it simple with both of you first. Joe, you first. Where would you take Carroll? Where's the first point in the draft that you're like, I'm taking this confidently? Not some falling out of the sky. Everyone would take him. Where would you make the commitment in an NFBC, so no ILs?
I was talking about this with Pisa Pia yesterday, and I think for me it's like James Wood type of area.
Okay, so that would be down to 37. Yeah, late 30s. And by the way, I should mention, currently he's pick 8. So that's about a 30-pick drop there. That's pretty fair. I think I would do that too. Justin, I don't think you would take him, but I'll ask you. Will you take Carroll anywhere? Besides the silly, like, oh my God, he fell to 100, which he'll never do.
Yeah.
Assuming he goes in the, say, 30 to 45 range. I'll give it a decent window here since we don't know much yet. Are you even taking him?
I'm probably not taking him unless I'm trying to come up with, off the top of my head, and update my projections live. Kind of trying to come up with like a new plate appearance mark, because I think you've got to drop maybe 20 games. And
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. About 20 games.
So we're
stay over 600.
So yeah, we're thinking maybe like 80 plate appearances off, which would put him at 585 plate appearances. All right, so
I'm trying to get him back by opening day. I'm reading right now, just reading the update. I don't agree with that. I'm just saying that's what they're trying to do is get him back by opening day. So they think it's.
I still have him as a top 25 player.
And I'll tell you,
top 25 hitter. Top 25 hitter.
That's still really good. I'll tell you right now, at least in the very early drafts. Now there's hardly any that we could say have this news, but he didn't drop as far as we said. Carroll only dropped to the teens, and I have 2 drafts here where he dropped into the 20s. Actually, I have 3: a 21, a 22, and a 23.
There's no way I'm taking him that high. Like I'm thinking.
I don't think I am either. I think the James Wood area, 37, like Joe said, that's good for me.
Yeah, I'm thinking around there, or maybe a little bit lower.
Okay. Well, we might not be getting him then. We'll see as the ADP updates. We need more than 3 drafts to say anything. But right now, it looks like the market is still pretty hot on Carroll, probably going off of that news. Because if they go to RotoWire, they see the tidbit that says they hope to have him back by opening day. I would not be that confident, folks.
Now,
I would
in a league where I've got IL, like in a league where I've got IL,
I barely move him.
I barely move him.
I move him. I barely move him though. I would take him at like 12.
You'd still take him in the first?
I'm not.
Yes.
Taking him first.
Why
I
not?
don't know about that. Because what if the power isn't quite what it should be when he comes back? And what if he is a 20 home run?
What if they don't
guy
let him run
30?
because they want him to fuck up his hand?
I would need to know. Okay, that's a good question. But one thing I would need to know that I don't know: how susceptible are you to something when you're recovering and you come back? You said that how AJ said swinging was a little bit more tender there, or whatever. Is he at risk of anything running and sliding in? Because if that's the case, then you're right. I can't go that high. Because I think
I'm taking him in the back end of the second, early third.
So then you're going to be going late 20s, early 30s at that point.
Yeah,
with IL.
With ILs.
I'm still taking him over the next tier in like Pete Crow-Armstrong and James Wood.
Yeah.
But I'm taking him behind guys like Zach Neto and Trey Turner.
You know what? I'll put him right next to Chourio at 20.
Okay.
12, 13 is still too high with ILs.
I'm still taking Chourio there.
I think that's a debate point for me. Yeah. I would be in my draft and I would say, I don't know which yet. Maybe I just go with the healthy guy who's healthy right now, Chourio, or do I try to take the gamble on?
But that's my IL leagues, I am much more inclined to be like, screw it. I'll wait out the 2 weeks, or because we're talking about it's a 4 to 6 week injury more than likely, right? Or probably a 6 week injury, right? But like a lot of those weeks are spring training. Like you're not actually getting hurt in the season.
Even if it's in 8, let's go the 8 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's 6, also 7, 8. That's April 9th.
Corbin Carroll has also shown that he can be a really valuable fantasy player when he's not hitting for power.
Yes.
True. I do think that. Yeah, I think back into the second round is where I would pull the trigger here.
So with ILs, I'm amending. I'm going 18 to 22 range where Chourio's going.
Yep.
Without ILs, we're all in a similar 35 to 45 range, just on the lower end of that.
No. I'm 28 to 30.
No, without IL. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm 28.
Oh, you're going high. Then you're beating us at that point.
Yeah.
Joe, do you want to amend your non-IL? Are you going James Wood area?
I can't rationalize taking a guy like Pete Crow-Armstrong or James Wood over him.
That's the line, I think, for me.
I certainly can't take PCA over him. I cannot.
I think they're going 32, 33.
Okay, then I'm at, then I'm up there too.
Yeah, that's
I'm
probably
at 30.
it for me.
So, reset. No IL NFBC. Carroll's at 30 area for us. We do not take him over. We do take him over PCA.
Yeah.
IL spots, we're all moving him up about 8 to 10 picks in that 20 range, right around Chourio. Mm-hmm. Good on Carroll? Okay.
Yep. That feels maybe a touch high to me, but at 25 or so, I'm picking nits at that point.
Okay. Yeah. So we are in that general zone.
I think what it does tell you is there is some big drop-offs in that second round and second and third round of talent, right?
We are finding where that period hits, and it really is PCA. And he's such an anchor point, and it's perfect. He's the next guy here in tier 2. So let's jump right to him a little bit more forcefully. Are you putting in the time there? Sorry, I didn't want to type it at the same time you did. So PCA. Pick 34 right now in these last 21 drafts. We all saw what happened. Blazing hot first half, one of the best players going, power speed, genius. Second half comes crashing down. We kind of knew there was going to be some sort of crash because of the plate skills. The thing of it is, you still look at the bottom line, and it's 31-35 with 95 ribbies, 91 runs, and a 247 average. It's a brilliant season. But I just don't know where we go from here, Justin, and I'm not paying the premium. As we've said, we're taking an injured Carroll over him. I worry that the second half is more real than the first half.
I mean, he's Michael Harris.
That's exactly it.
With more power.
White Cole Harris.
And White Cole Harris, that's nice.
Like we did with White Cole Pineda, which was Jeff Samardzija.
I just think he's Michael Harris with more power, and that is really, really intriguing to some and really, really scary to others. Like, this is a guy in a head-to-head league you should not be drafting. Let someone else pay the price on Pete Crow-Armstrong. In a league that is a roto league, I understand it. I'm not going to, because you could get an entire season like we did of Michael Harris last year, where he becomes droppable, the guy you drafted in the third round.
Well, then the problem with Harris is anytime you cut him, he goes and dominates for another team. We've seen it so many times. It's so frustrating.
You have to be willing to take these ups and downs. And I will say, like, you need to, if you do, even in a roto league, if you do draft Pete Crow-Armstrong, you need to be smart about, like, not drafting other guys like this, right?
Yes. Like,
don't be drafting Ellie De La Cruz and then Pete Crow-Armstrong.
I could get 90 steals. Yeah, you can also get a 111 batting average. Okay, he's not 111, but it could be really bad.
Don't go get O'Neal Cruz later on in the draft. Like these guys who swing outside of the
zone, 120
zone
steals,
or just swing constantly, like, they're gonna have these massive ups and downs, right? And I think a lot of people are, who are watching or who are drafting right now are looking at the end of season line, going, just set it and forget it. Like, like, I think there's a reasonable world. I think the speed is going to be safe, right? The playing time is going to be safe because of his defensive
elite glove.
But I do think, like, we have no idea where he's going to hit in the batting order. Mm-hmm. Like, he had a lot in the bottom third towards the end of last season. From September 18th on, he only had one game where he didn't bat 7th, 8th, or 9th.
It's a contending team. They can't take a 287 OBP and put it up near the top of the lineup with Pete Crow.
So, like, I don't think you want to really project him for more than 600 plate appearances. And I think you have to be really, concerned that maybe that power comes back down to the low 20s and that the batting average could be atrocious at some point.
Joe, I got a little bit of a tough question for you here. Do you even want to play him against lefties? Like, if you can help it, should you be eschewing those supplemental counting categories to avoid the 188 average that he gave you in 188 plate appearances against them? A little symmetry there. But, I mean, he was wretched against lefties. That was really what sank him as Pete Crow-Armstrong's numbers deteriorated in the second half, because he can't hit lefty-lefty. Do you even want to bother there? Obviously, you're paying a premium to use somebody as a platoon guy, but is it better in, like, a shallower format where you have more replacement value to maybe start platooning him and paring down some of those? Like, you got 3 lefties in a row coming up. Do you sit him for half the week, Pete Crow-Armstrong?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. You'd actually help preserve some of the batting average you'd get from him anyway. That would make him probably closer to a 260, 270 guy in your lineup, as opposed to what could be 230, 240 if he's playing in your lineup every single day. I don't really have any interest, honestly. Like, I really wanted to say, you know what, like, he can build on what he did. And it feels ridiculous to not have any interest in a 23-year-old who went 30-30, who's maybe the best defensive player in the game. But there are just so many flaws. There are so many flaws in his hitting profile. He chases a ton. It's a 42% O swing. The zone contact improved this year to 84, but he's still swinging and missing 16% of the time. I just can't do it. And the more I think about the previous question, like the Carroll PCA, like it's Carroll for me, even with the injury. Like PCA, I understand the allure, but I can't do it. Like, I am one thing with me, and this might be a flaw in how I analyze fantasy teams and players. I don't want to take players who I don't perceive to be amazing real life hitters, especially when it comes
this early
on base, especially when it comes to on base rates. The Cedane Rafaelas, the Michael Harrises of the world. I mean, you can
at least Rafael is a lot cheaper. This is the thing with Pete Crow-Armstrong, is he's picked 33, 34. That's I can't get over it. I can't. Yeah.
There's too many potential negatives. He could end up hitting 9th in this order.
Cedon's 100 picks cheaper, by the way.
He could repeat what he did last year, and we could all look kind of stupid.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying he's a garbage player. I'm willing to take the loss, though, if he bangs and somebody takes him there, and I take, Wyatt Langford 20 picks later, or Churio just ahead of him, or Tucker, as we mentioned, or the injured Carroll, or any other number of guys. I can't do the Pete Crow-Armstrong on the full hype of last year.
The real argument is the fact that you are passing up on another stud to take this volatility, and that's where
exactly
I have a problem with it.
That's it. And let me expand it out beyond outfield here, because I was looking at the ADP, just outfield only. The other players going around him, Neto. I just take Neto.
Yep.
Right. I take any of these pitchers. There's a ton of pitchers going. I'd rather just take an overpriced close. I say overpriced, but I will pay that premium. I'd pay for the closer. I would take the starters. I would take Pete Alonso. I mean, it's a different thing versus power only versus power speed. But there's just so many guys here.
Metal Marte's going.
I take Marte at second base. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not even Marte straight up. I think I take Langford straight up.
Yeah.
Who? Langford? Yeah. Yeah, I think I really would. So anyway, we're beating a dead horse here. We're just really concerned about Pete Crow. He's a good player, especially in real life when you can count that defense.
Great defensive player.
Really wonderful defender.
I love good defensive players. But that approach at the plate is just deadly.
287 OBP. I just cannot stress that enough. Joe, you hit on it as well. You don't want to take bad baseball players or bad hitters as your key fantasy players. All right, we do have to cut it there. I know that's like at the beginning of a tier, but I didn't check the clock. It's at 4. That is my stop time. Joe, thank you for joining us. Justin, we will continue tomorrow with the rest of tiers 2 and 3 for outfield. Joe, by the time we're with you next week, we'll be still on outfield. So you'll have plenty of outfielders still to talk about. We're probably going to end up doing like 4 or 5 spots on outfielders. But yeah, we're fully in the thick of it. Justin, you and Jason getting together, talk news and notes this weekend?
We should, yes.
Excellent. Gentlemen, I'll talk to you both later. Have a good one. Peace.
Take it easy,
guys.